Hello.
I'm Zena.
Zena, very much like your name.
Thank you so much. Nice to meet you.
Can we start with the beginning? Do you identify as a female?
I identify as a woman, yeah.
Okay.
Right. So I do want to get back to your premise. You're saying that women have been devalued, right, by the sexual revolution. This kind of presumes two things. One, that there has been a loss of worth, right, for women. So you're saying that women have, as human beings, lost worth. Women who, prior to their sexual revolution, were worth more than women today.
I would say that, yes, women have devalued themselves by becoming overtly sexual. That's my claim. So, I mean, also according to and let's not remove this from the other part of the claim, which it has made women infinitely less happy.
Right. So you're saying that according to you, women have been devalued?
Not according to me. According to the time in which people are getting married, how difficult it is for people to find a partner that's willing to commit to them. And I think that's in large.
Women don't want commitment. They don't. They don't want to be mothers and they don't want to be wives. Because if Candace Owens really wanted to be a mother and a wife first, she'd put it away. But she won't, right? And I'm not even saying she should. Look, she could. But if you mess your kids up, I don't care. I was raised by nannies. I'd say I'm good enough. I could be better, but maybe maybe not completely, but strong influence from them. Maybe maybe I wouldn't be on the internet doing this stuff, but here I am.
Part due to the fact that women are offering sex for free because it was a major component of the sexual revolution was this idea.
So a woman's worth is tied to her sexuality.
It's not tied to, well, absolutely. If you're going to be having multiple partners, you are going to be devaluing yourself.
Yeah. So to be honest, men pick beauty before purity. They do. So your number one value is tied to your sexuality in a way as a woman, because the promise of sex gets guys to do stuff for you, and you can monetize it in different ways. In a way, Candace is monetizing her sexuality because she does the, I'm special and different grift, and I'm trying to say it in a different way. I know she's not overly sexual, she doesn't wear super whatever stuff, but she would not be as famous if she was a man. That's the better way to put it.
Worth less as a human being.
Not as a human being, just, in terms of trying to have a partnership and a productive.
Beauty isn't purity. Look, you guys can say what you want, but I see what you guys respond to. Youth and beauty is your number one currency. Purity is third. The only reason men go down on beauty is because they want to be treated a little bit better. But beauty will get women opportunities and in the door. It will get them in the door and have opportunities. Even that a girl, if you take a 5 or an 8, the 8's going to have more chances at relationships, more chances at marriage, despite her body count even than the 5. You might not agree with it, but it all starts with a swipe right. That's where it starts. It all starts with him asking her out. It's not like we have these niche communities where you get to know the 5, she works her way up. No. Most people are meeting on dating apps. Do you know how that starts? Your face, your tits, your ass. That's how it starts. Yeah, so I understand that you might pick let's say you have a 5 and an 8 and you're a guy that gets girls. Because remember, women only want the alpha. So the only real relationships, if I was a guy, I wouldn't consider a relationship with any woman that doesn't view me as alpha. I wouldn't. Because that's the only chance you have as a girl staying. It truly is. If a girl's making you wait for sex, because in the past she had to stay for security, but now women are bailed out by the government. They're bailed out. They can get jobs. They don't need money anymore. So the only thing women need is excitement. So, there's no need for men to provide. But if a guy that has choice, he's banging an 8, a 7, and a 6. Now the 6 might pick the 6 for long term, but the 5 didn't even get in the door. Look. Because he's going to say, which girl am I going to go on a date with, this 8 or the 5? And if they both say yes, he's going on the date with the 8. And the 8 got in the door, the 5 did not. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, Pearl, but Pearl, women, why don't they women just date guys on their league? Yeah, okay. Like, have you not watched this show? I like 3s because I have double vision.
Relationship, certainly men are not.
Yeah, a 5 woman pulls 8, 9, 10 men. A 5 man pulls 2, 3, 4 women. The power weapon is beauty. Beauty comes first. And it pisses, non-hot women off because we'll see hot women. I've seen hot women do terrible things and men will still pick her. Men will still, she's hot. Yeah, the 5 got in, but only through the back door. True.
Not going to be clamoring to have a relationship with somebody when there's the market is throwing them.
A man's response to your actions is.
And men do wife hose. Men don't want to, but for how much for the amount of pushback I just got in the chat, where I said, do you know what? I bet Brett caught a couple bodies in college. I didn't say she all out hoed out, but when I said, Candace lived in a big city, I bet she threw it back a bit. I think that's a fair assessment. And then you guys said, no. That's how I know you guys will wife hose, because you guys are so not you. I know some of you are RP, but a lot of guys are so willing to just give every benefit of the doubt they can possibly give because women say they're pure. You could say anything. Am I a million? I think I should. I am a millionaire. I am a multi-bajillionaire. Do you guys believe me? No. Women have to prove they're not hoes.
What defines your work?
Don't kill the dream. Okay, well, what I'm saying is she might not be a hoe if she's an 8, but none of these women are 8s.
Right?
Yeah, well, I would say that I would argue that what makes women actually happy is family. So if you're interrupting, so just to connect the dots for you, when women are having sex with multiple partners, it devalues them for men, right?
For men. So,
yes. So
men define a woman's worth.
Well, I would say both of them kind of define one another's worth because I think the ultimate goal for people to be happy is actually family.
Okay, so you're saying in all cases, a woman is going to be more fulfilled in regards to family.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
And this is going to work in all cases. You're saying there's no individual case in which a woman can feel, fulfilled without being tied to other people in the case of family.
I think there could be an exceptional case for everything. I think there are exceptional cases, but...
Controversial opinion. I don't think women... I think women... As a woman, it is your job to make yourself happy. You cannot put that on your kids or your husband. That's your own job. It is your own job to make yourself happy. I think you have your own responsibility to be happy. So I think that the family... Thank you, $50, Carlos. You shouldn't have. Now, the family could make you more fulfilled, hypothetically, but... I just got to look at what women are doing. I'd really like to believe that. And I think at one point I did, but I just kept looking at what women were doing. If women wanted family and to be mothers so bad, why did they kill 1/8 of the world's population? We would have a second city of London if it weren't for abortion. If women wanted it so bad, why is it when women are 22, they're not like dying to have kids and be a mother? So I just kind of had to look at it and say, do you know what? I don't think women want it as much as we previously thought. I don't. And even this rhetoric, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, you can't put being happy on your kids or all your family. It's not fair to your kids to make them responsible for your happiness. It's not fair to your husband. If your husband left you tomorrow, you got to figure out a way to be happy. That's your burden in life. It just is what it is. Yeah.
But I think that if we all start trying to be the exception as opposed to recognizing the rule, which is that people in life are more fulfilled when they achieve a family unit and when they have children, women in particular, especially aspiring to children, then you are going to end up with a bunch of people who are unhappy because your job cannot replace the feeling of having a family.
So what you're saying is we need to look at every individual case and see what is going to fulfill you or what is going to, I guess, essentially predict your happiness more.
I'm not here to look at. This is what conservatives miss. Women are not happy with beta husbands. They're not. And their actions proved it. Not what they say, what they did. If women were so happy with beta husbands, why do they keep killing their kids? Why do they keep divorcing them and leaving them? They're not happy with them. They're not. So I just tell women to go for alphas and try to get one. And it's not because I think most women will, but I'm going to tell her to go torture a beta guy? Or a guy that she views as like not good. Like, do you know what it's like? Have any of you guys been married to a woman who she thinks she's better than you, or she thinks you're like her second choice? I don't tell women. I say go for the men you want, and it's not because it's in the guy's best interest. It's in the guy's best interest. Now you need money to have kids, not necessarily. You need money to have kids today because women want the latest fashion, the latest clothes, the latest diapers, a house, not an apartment. I mean, I know people that were raised in apartments and they're fine. Yeah, and those women, as a woman, like that's why I almost think these happiness conversations are bad. They're not bad, but are fruitless. Because you're either a happy person or you're not.
Because if we look at, for example, the Nordic countries, right? These are countries, I'm talking about like Sweden, Denmark, right? These countries tend to be like, I think in the past 14 years, they've been ranked as the highest in happiness and marital satisfaction from women, right? And we see that they also have been the most open in regards to like, sexual norms and sexual roles, right? So, and we also see that there's less rape.
Well, and remember, there's alpha guys that go after, like I would put, okay. I know guys that you could say like, and I'm going to just say it, alpha, non-alpha, I don't know. But I hate the terms, but I got to use something. I really don't like alpha and beta, but there's alpha guys that run through the 30-year-old women. There's alpha guys that run through the 40-year-old women. Women age out of like the top alphas and then go to the second alphas in their 30s that are like, they're running through those women and so forth.
Of like STDs reported. We see more, and that's also due to comprehensive sex education that's pushed in those countries. So we see that and that's like
perhaps women can be happy with non-alphas if they can bond and not have a body count over 5. Yeah, and I think that's why partially men like the younger women. I mean, they don't have to compete as much, right? You have to compete with like 2 dudes. That's amazing. And so it's kind of like it's like a workaround, right? But it doesn't work now because women will meet a more alpha guy, more Chad guy than you at work, at home, the pool. That's why women end up screwing the pool boy, right? Unfortunately, if that were true, then all the people that married young would, they would stay married. But now they divorce more than people that marry later. And it's because women, you're basically telling women, give up being a celebrity to be with me. How many men would give up being a LeBron James to be with a woman? You probably wouldn't, right? Like to have all these hot women chasing you, it'd be pretty hard to get you to settle down. That's what you're telling women to do. Good luck. Using the word alpha is generalizing. Do you guys want to understand what I'm saying, or are you just going to pick? I understand it's not a perfect term, but I gotta use a placeholder term.
A direct result of the sexual revolution, right? So when we're seeing that direct reports of happiness, right, we don't have these same rates.
Pearl keeps telling the truth. Women love Neiman Marcus. Who doesn't? All women and men are the same. Remember, we are all the same overall. I don't think we're the same, but I don't know what you're, okay.
America, in these countries that are more sexually open, why would we see like those rates in those type of countries.
So I think you might be referring to this sort of mass-produced study that was a part of like a behavioral science study, which said that
Now here's the issue. All right, I use studies on my channel and facts and statistics because I have to. I do. But the challenge you get is in academia, there is no incentive to produce honest studies if it ruins your career. And so I don't my first way that I am going to see the world is through my eyes and what I see. Second is facts, data, and statistics. You're not going to give me a study and say, don't believe what's in front of your eyes. You can't do it.
Women were the happiest women in the world were women that were actually unmarried and had careers. No. Okay. Well, there was
reported happiness.
Okay. Sure. I'm talking about the same thing. It was reported happiness, but it could be there's tons of studies. The point being is that in 2023, there was this massive scandal where they recognize that a lot of these studies that were being produced, behavioral science, was proven to be a complete fraud. And they were unable to reproduce these studies. And they also found that the data had been faked. The data that we can look at that I think shows, and you can let me know if you agree with this, if women, and under the imagination of the feminist umbrella, were really unhappy when they were in the home, and then entering the workforce has made women happier and infinitely feeling more secure about themselves, we could, I think, reasonably expect that there would have been a decrease in suicide rates amongst women.
You would have to go ahead and show how that correlation, right, is going to be a direct cause of women going into the workforce.
Okay, well, how can we, let's measure, then you have to give me a way that we can measure happiness. How can we measure happiness? So I would say suicide rates would be a good thing to look at. Drug, alcohol consumption would be a good thing to look at. Of course, right?
But we would have to, we can say, I can say at this point in society, I don't think everyone.
But women, I don't like alcohol consumption because women are doing that to party. You know, women love roaring, women are one of the biggest binge drinkers in the United States. So I don't know alcohol, maybe antidepressant suicide rate, I would agree.
Everyone's happy. I think there's a lot of things that we need to reconcile in society.
That's what I'm getting at.
Right, but we have to look at the cause, right? Why are these things predicted, right? And for example, if we talk about men, there are a lot of things we can look at, right? That tend to predetermine suicide, right? But we can't say, oh, these two things are happening at the same time. This caused this other thing.
Yes, that's right. But I do think that we can objectively say that women who are committing suicide rates more than they were in the 1950s, it has actually increased marginally. That's not a sign that
statistically unchanged. Yeah, women are kind of pussies. They're not going to do it. Sorry, I shouldn't say that. Sorry.
Entering the workforce suddenly made us
How is
very
it
happy.
a cause of the workforce?
We're also binge drinking at a higher rate.
How is this a cause of
opioids at a higher rate?
How is this a cause of entering the workforce?
Because I think women are being put on a pathway aspirationally.
But you're going to have to. You're saying you think this, right? But where's the cause? You're not substantiating the claim. You're saying this is what I think. I'm seeing two.
Okay, pause. You've been voted out by the majority.
So Local says we are in the same life. We are the same in life is what we want. This is why we have this dynamic. It will never change. Love it, accept it. Why fight it? Yeah, I've accepted. I wish I fought it less. Some of the fighting was embarrassing. I wish I'd. Yeah, I just got to accept things the way they are.